My name is Dreher. I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist for most of my life. I've worked in Washington and New York, Philly, but I'm also a Christian, an Orthodox Christian. And over the years, I've been a film critic, a political commentator, but I've come to have a real passion for the future of the church in this culture. I think that I can serve the church best by helping Christians to understand challenges we face in eternity, especially the critical challenges to even maintain the historic faith in this Christian era. And I sit in front of my computer all day at home in Baton Rouge, and I blog and I write articles, and I'm a pretty happy person. I think it's weird because when I blog sometimes things get very doomy and gloomy, and I want to say, oh, you must be very grim just sitting there white knuckling it to the apocalypse. The truth is, I come from South Louisiana. And whenever our tradition is a hurricane is coming, get out the gumbo pot, make gumbo, invite all your friends and neighbors over and ride out the storm together. That's kind of the attitude I like to have towards life. I think we're facing really serious problems in the church and in our culture. But if we're not going to meet them with joy in our hearts, then we're going to fail. So I try to meet things with joy in my heart, even though I think we're in pretty serious shape. I was invited to come talk at Malone about my upcoming book called The Benedict Option, and its subtitle is A Strategy for Christians in a Post-Christian Nation. I wanted to come up here at the invitation of the university to share what I think is a critique about the radical nature of the predicament the church is in now as America has moved away from its Christian roots and Christianity is no longer at the center of our culture, but also to give hope, to say that Christians, if we're going to hold on to our faith, we have to live in radically different ways. But there's reason to hope for that, and we just have to come together and see the sign, read the signs of the times, but also find each other and learn how to worship together and build things with joy in our hearts, things that are countercultural, so we can keep the faith alive through what I think is going to be a really long, dark age. And I call it the Benedict option because I model it on the example of St. Benedict of Nursia. He was a 6th century monk who went down to the city of Rome after it fell to the barbarians. He went there to do his education. And he got there, he was a Christian, and he said, this place is a mess. It's so chaotic and lots of there's moral collapse everywhere. He left the city, went out to the woods to live in a cave for 3 years, and just to ask God, what do I do? He prayed and fasted and sought the Lord's guidance. And when he came out, he had a reputation for holiness. And he ended up founding a religious order of monks and wrote what's now called the Rule of St. Benedict, a very famous book. It's not a book of spiritual secrets, it's just a guide to how to run a monastery, how to live in Christian community together. And what this book did, he could not have known it at the time. That book served as the centerpiece of all kinds of Christian communities that grew up, monastic communities in barbarian Europe. And those monks over the next several hundred years, they moved all throughout Western Europe, spreading the gospel, not only spreading the gospel, but teaching the people how to do ordinary things, how to pray, how to read, how to garden, how to do things that have been lost when civilization fell. Well, we're in a very different situation today. Obviously, there's so much material prosperity, but Pope Benedict XVI and the philosopher Alistair MacIntyre and others have likened the condition of chaos we're in today to the fall of the Roman Empire. Pope Benedict, in fact, I'm not a Catholic, but I read him because he's a really intelligent man and an acute observer of culture. He said that the West is in the worst spiritual crisis since the fall of Rome. But when the Pope says that, you've got to pay attention. And I think he's right about it. So I look to St. Benedict to say, what would a St. Benedict of our own time do? Not a St. Benedict who would start a religious order, but ordinary people. St. Benedict who would speak up to ordinary Christians, evangelicals, Catholics, Eastern Orthodox, like myself, and how we'll be able, what we can do to get ourselves and our children and our children's children through this very difficult time, this new dark age, with our faith intact. And so that's what I call the Benedict option, is making a choice to live radically and counterculturally for the sake of Christ, but also for the sake of Christ in this particular culture facing our particular challenges.